The story begins during the era of Iroku in 1564. Amidst the Great Mountains, young warrior Hyodo secretly watches 3 bandits. He's scared and shaking, finding it hard to draw his sword. Suddenly, a young man and his sister confront the bandits, urging them to do good instead of blocking the road. The bandits laugh at the siblings, demanding their valuables and threatening their lives. In a burst of anger, the young man hits one of the bandits, who decides to punish them by stripping them. The brother, trying to defuse the situation, throws 3 papers at the bandits as an apology. These papers magically turn into huge hands and attack the bandits. Once the hands vanish, the defeated bandits lie on the ground. The sister scolds her brother for still not finding their leader's test location, despite beating the bandits. She's convinced the bandits were keeping them from finding it, and they must continue their quest the hard way. Meanwhile, Hyodo, who's been watching from behind the trees, listens to their conversation. The sister feels someone's presence, but they move on. Taking a break during their journey, the sister senses they're being watched again. She throws a stone toward the hidden observer, who turns out to be Hyodo with a bruised face. He introduces himself, sharing that he's on a warrior's journey and saw their fight with the bandits. The siblings don't pay much attention to Hyodo. The brother, thinking the girl is younger, tells her to keep walking. Hyodo is surprised, having thought the opposite. He then shares that he knows where the bandit leader's hideout is and wants to learn more about them. The brother, named Jinka, reveals he's a wise sage, and his sister Tama is a fox spirit. They're bound together by a special promise. This encounter marks the beginning of an unexpected alliance in their mystical journey. Jinka chats with Hyodo about some magical seals they saw, powered by spiritual energy. Hyodo doesn't believe them, thinking they're just making up stories because they're kids. To get Hyodo to help, Tama scares him with a snake and points them in the right direction. Hyodo, freaked out by the snake, agrees to guide them. They head to the bandits' headquarters, where Hyodo tells Jinka and Tama about the anicaps, a notorious gang in the area. The gang's boss wears a helmet, rumored to hide horns. Jinka jokes about the boss's supposed horns, and Tama laughs at the idea of gaining fame by beating the bandits. Hyodo gets mad, saying this is his chance to train and become known. But Jinka thinks it's just a fantasy. Tama hints they have a real mission, but isn't sure about sharing it with Hyodo, who's scared of a snake. Hyodo gets defensive, saying he's scared of snakes but can easily fight as a warrior. Their loud conversation alerts the bandits. The gang orders their men to capture Hyodo and his friends. As they face off with the bandit leader, Tama steps up to speak. She tells them that what they're doing is wrong and they should stop their evil ways. She suggests they disband and leave their life of crime. The bandits think she's naive for coming all this way just to say that. Jinka tries to fight, but Tama holds him back. She asks the bandits to think about their actions, warning that their path of evil will only lead to loss, starvation, and fear of revenge. She proposes a different way. If they give up fighting and work together, they can live without fear and killing. Tama's plea for peace shocks everyone, especially Hyodo, who didn't expect their goal to be so straightforward. The bandits laugh at her again, and one tries to attack Tama. Jinka jumps into action, saving his sister from an attack. He tells her she needs to keep her cool and not hate humans so much. That's when the gang leader tells his men to go after them. Tama and Jinka, with their amazing powers, take down a lot of the bad guys, leaving Hyodo in awe. He realizes this team is unbeatable in these parts. Then, one of the thugs tries to kill Hyodo. He's scared but fights back bravely, breaking his sword and the bad guy's helmet, and then takes him down for good. Tama's amazed and tells Jinka how Hyodo split the helmet in half. Hyodo's thrilled with his win, quickly finishing off the guy. He then rushes at the leader, but as he strikes, 2 huge hands come out of nowhere, catching his blade and throwing him back. The leader, now shown to be a monster, is mad about being forced to show his true form. The group is stunned to see the leader as a monster. He threatens them, saying anyone who tries to run will be killed. Tama recognizes him as Katawara, and Jinka explains he's a creature from another world, a non-human spirit. Mata wonders if they can beat him. Jinka says Katawara's been hiding for so long because his power is in changing forms. Tama tells Jinka it doesn't matter if Katawara's human or not, they'll take down anyone doing evil things. The monster, furious, threatens to kill them all. Tama and Jinka then unleash a bright light from within. Hyodo is shocked to hear about this spiritual transformation. Tama says it's a technique where they join with Katawara's spirit, becoming a unified being in their spiritual form. In this form, Jinka is super powerful. The monster orders his men to kill Jinka, warning them of the consequences of failure. Jinka defeats them all with his sword. The monster then doubts the usefulness of human soldiers. Tama jumps in, saying they'll get rid of anyone set on evil deeds. The monster attacks Jinka, who fights back with his staff. But the monster catches it, bragging about his 2 arms. Jinka surprises everyone by quickly hitting the monster's head with his staff, killing it. Hayato, amazed, asks why they're doing all this. Tama explains they love humans and want to end barbarism in the world. She talks about changing the world for the better, especially in these primitive times. After their intense battle, Jinka, Tama, and Hayudo start their journey back home. Jinka thinks they should try to dodge the entity following them, but Tama suggests they just ignore it. They go into a house where Hayudo is thinking about Katawara, amazed by such an extraordinary being. Inside the house, they hear a man yelling a warning. He tells them not to go down a certain path, or they'll face death by a monstrous creature. The man shares a story about an encounter in the forest with a huge monster named Shakugan. During this encounter, their friend Siren bravely decides to fight the monster. But Shakugan, being so powerful, kills Siren. The man then draws a picture of the monster, and it turns out to be Shakugan, the monk who was trapped in the ground. He's upset, mentioning that Siren, a Dengezio monk, has died, and warns that others shouldn't get involved in their fight against demons. Hayato talks to Jinka, worried that if people find out who Tama really is, they might try to get rid of her. Jinka reassures him that they already know everything they need to. Tama then explains that Dengezio is a group of warrior monks who use their spiritual power to fight katawara. They only go after sawari, a type of katawara that's dangerous to humans. The man, still angry, insists that anyone who's not part of Dengezio shouldn't get involved. Hayato tells Jinka that he's different from the others. Hayudo is taken aback by Tama's vast knowledge and asks how she knows so much. Tama hints that living a long time can make you wise, which surprises Hayudo since she looks young. Curious, Tama wonders where they're headed next. Hayudo pretends to sleep, but he's actually planning to stick around Tama and her brother to learn their secrets and understand their power. They find his act annoying, but Tama tells her brother to let it be. The boy, who showed bravery during the katawara fight, wakes up suddenly later that night. Tama sees him leave. Alone in the dark, he practices his sword skills, remembering a time when he told others his father was a samurai. They laughed and beat him, doubting his story because of his apparent weakness. As he trains, he thinks about his ability to defeat katawara with his sword. He wonders if he's strong enough to kill katawara and thinks meeting Dengezio or learning from Tana and Jinku might help improve his skills. Suddenly, Tama shows up, guessing he's pondering all this. She playfully kicks him into the water, and her brother joins in, laughing and teasing Hayudo. When Hayudo gets out of the water, he's mad. Jinka asks Tama what they should do next. She says they probably didn't need to worry, which confuses Hayudo. Jinka then jokes that they thought Hayudo might be sneaking off to steal something. Jinka adds that if Hayudo did steal, it would give them a good reason to punish him, or basically, bully him. Tama scolds her brother, tells him to stop, and apologizes to Hayudo, saying her brother just can't help it and advises him not to mind. Suddenly, Tama feels tired and leaves, followed by her brother. Hayudo is left wondering if Tama is really a Yuayuko, and contemplates whether he should try to learn from the Dengezio instead. Hayudo wakes up to find himself alone and hurries off, thinking he might see another katawara fight. He soon spots a crowd and hides in the trees. There, Dengezio is arguing with Jinka, telling him to back off and let the humans handle things. Jinka doesn't really care about human matters, but warns them against hurting katawara without a good reason. Another man steps in, cautioning Jinka not to be reckless, pointing out that katawara attacking humans might make them seem like the bad guys. Jinka suggests that if they're so eager for blood, why not just fight each other to extinction? Tama then hits Jinka, telling him to quit it, and wonders why this katawara named Shikugan is attacking humans. A big guy says they're not supposed to talk about it, and Hayudo notices how Jinka seems to dislike humans, unlike his sister. Suddenly, the monster they're looking for shows up behind Hayudo, scaring him. It looks right at him with its huge eye. A fighter comes to Hayudo's rescue, knocking him away. Tama asks Hayudo what he's doing there, and he apologizes. Jinka looks at him angrily. Then, the fighters try to trap the monster with a spell, but it breaks free. Jinka expected this. Tama tells her brother to help, and Jinka starts hitting the monster with his staff. They're warned about the monster's strength, but Jinka keeps attacking. Jinka uses his summoning cards with more power this time. The cards create stone hands that grab the monster. Tama tells Hayudo he's now part of their dark world. He's amazed by Jinka's power and the existence of this world. He stands up, excited, realizing he's found the place to get stronger. Meanwhile, Jinka prepares to finish off the monster. But the monster seems to sense something and looks like it wants to say something to Jinka. And that's where the episode ends, leaving us hanging.